Figure 4 Radio. Lock it in. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Hello and welcome to a Figure 4 Radio podcast with me, the Killer Kyle Brand. Today I am joined, as always, by the Mastermind, Ollie Spring.
Hey Kai.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. You alright?
Not too bad.
Looking forward to this one today.
Good hello, by the way.
Good hello.
And he's been around the corner a fair few times now. It is, of course, Luke O Mac.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
yeah.
That's right.
You know what we haven't seen yet, Luke? We haven't seen your dancing across the Cineworld foyer yet.
I was doing it earlier, actually.
You have to get someone to record it.
Okay.
We need proof.
Fine.
You've been promising that.
That was the deal in your contract.
And we were doing the Ric Flair walk. Yeah, that was...
We need to see this.
Oh, did you then chuck some popcorn on the floor and give it an overdrop?
You should.
No, but I should have
You
just
really
throw it back
should
on the floor. And
If it's not them, it's a customer. Right, today
Yes.
we are going to talk about what got us into wrestling, the stories behind what got us
I'm
into
looking
wrestling.
forward to this.
Yeah, it should be a
because
good one.
I think I threw this into the hat because I think things like things like the best matches ever and stuff like that. There's like a definitive list, and everyone talks about the same stuff. Best wrestlers ever, best matches, best spots, all that sort of stuff.
Blah.
Yeah, your favorite promotions. I figured one thing that's always unique and gets different matches and wrestlers out there is like as a kid, like how you got into it and who your favorites were. Like we were talking, like when I was saying how I used to like Tank Abbott. Like as an adult, no one would like Tank Abbott, but as a kid, I loved him.
Where can you hear those?
Those are available on Podomatic, on iTunes, on Stitcher. Just search for Figure 4 Radio.
Oh, yeah.
So it was when we were talking about the promotions a few weeks ago. So I wanted to basically kind of dig into that and find like all the... Basically kind of be able to talk about all the people that don't often come up in top 10 lists and just have a good giggle, because I've got some really fun stories of how I started watching wrestling. And I reckon you guys do too. So I want to hear them.
Mine's... I wouldn't say it's a fun story. It all started because I used to get Sky back in the day, and it used to be Cartoon Network. Now, I think at 9 o'clock, it would change to TNT Classic. But on Friday night, it wasn't like the old films that you used to get. It was WCW.
So did you kind of accidentally stumble across it because you just kept watching one?
Accidentally stumbled it. Now, it was for a while that I saw this, and lights going off and pyrotechnics, and I was a young lad. Like, where's my cartoons? Oh, I don't want to watch this. This is not cartoon. This is not like Dexter's Laboratory. I'm going to turn it off. Turned it off. Just kept turning it off. And then I think my granddad... I used to watch boxing with my granddad.
Okay.
Never liked boxing. I just found it boring. And I kind of associated the squared circle with boxing.
I'm not a big boxing fan, to be fair.
So it kind of got to that point. But I remember falling asleep while watching the cartoons. I know I was young. I was a hipster as well. Early to bed and all that.
Right.
Huh? Yeah. And I woke up and I vaguely remember this very long blonde-haired guy running towards somebody, giving it a knee, and like, holy shit, what have I just turned into? This is not boxing. And got scared, turned it off.
Okay.
And then throughout that week, it was like, why was he? Why was that real? Was it a boxer just went ape shit, turned it back on, and again I saw Ric Flair, who I didn't know was Ric Flair.
Woo!
Come back. He was on the screen again. I fell asleep. Woke back up, and all the lights were going, and the pyrotechnics, and God knows what going on. And then all of a sudden, these guys weren't boxing. There was no gloves, and it was Rey Mysterio, and I think it was Eddie Guerrero jumping around the place, going, "Well, hang on a minute, this is fucking good," and just kept on watching it, and then just got hooked. So like, hey, I want to see that again. No storyline behind it. I didn't care about the storyline. I just want to see these guys jump at each other, flying each other around the ring, and then seeing the NWO beating everyone up and go, what the fuck's going on? And like thinking, there's this one guy is different every week, going, why don't they all just gang up? The NWO has had like 10 people or whatever, but they always pick on one or two guys.
Yeah.
Always different guys. If all those different guys just gone, fuck this.
Teamed up.
It'd be 20 against 10. They would kick the shit out of them.
Didn't that happen in the end? It was the New Blood versus the NWO.
Yeah, so it's something like that. Yeah. But why wasn't that done sooner? But that's how I got hooked on wrestling, just by pure accident.
Was there any kind of big shows or big matches that was it Eddie Guerrero? So was that the one match?
It was the cruiserweights, if anything.
Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio was the match that got you into it.
I think so. From what I can remember, I think so. I do remember Jeff Jarrett doing his little thing with his hair. I remember him being one of the first people of my earliest memory of running into someone giving him a knee.
Yeah,
and that's what scared the living shit out of me. That's probably why I hate Jeff Jarrett. And it sucks that he went off with Kurt Angle's wife, but that's a different matter.
That's another story for another day. Who were the people? Who was your the most influential wrestlers as far as you were concerned? As I say, for me, when I was watching WCW when it was on Channel 5, for some reason I really loved Tank Abbott, and I loved Billy Kidman and Rey Mysterio. Were they the Radicals or were they the Animals or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
No, the Radicals wasn't it the New Radicals in WWE?
That was in WWE,
Saturn and Malenko.
I vaguely remember they didn't have a name. It was just like Rey Mysterio.
No, they definitely
Billy
did.
Kidman.
I just can't think of what it is now because they had. I think was it Conan was their manager.
Probably.
I'll have to look it up.
Look it up. But I remember seeing Lex Luger. I didn't know he had a WWF history. I didn't know history about him, but I remember him going out being sort of this big, beefed up fucking hell. He looked amazing. He was tag teaming with the Giant, aka the Big Show.
Yeah.
Holy shit! This giant, they exist. The Jack and the Beanstalk and all that shit. They actually exist. Yeah. Taking on other people, and obviously, I knew of Hulk Hogan. I knew of the Macho Man.
Yeah.
Because they are just so famous.
Yeah.
And so I knew them. So it took me back when they were heels, thinking, well, hang on a minute. I thought everyone loved Hulk Hogan. Everyone's booing him. But
the Filthy Animals.
Filthy Animals.
There
yes.
you go.
Anyway, well, Billy Kidman was filthy at one point.
As you were.
But DDP was one of the biggest ones I can remember absolutely loving. This was, I think, just after the Diamond Dolls whole segment where he was a heel and now he was a babyface. I loved the babyface back then, as you do as any old kid.
Yeah, of course you do. You always root for the good guy.
Yeah, but I remember...
Kid.
No, this was in 1997, so they were building up Hulk Hogan and Sting. And I never saw Sting. All I saw every once in a while was this figure in the rafters in the roof going, what the fuck is that? What the hell is going on? And so every once in a while, and Sting would come down and beat the living shit. That was like, holy shit, this is Phantom of the Opera. This is
of course it is.
bat out of hell. I absolutely love this guy, but never quite got to see him. I was just like tuning in every Friday night, just hoping he would come
just for
down
a snippet, just to see him.
So he would come down and beat the living shit out of the NWO, because obviously they were going wild and everyone wasn't doing anything about it. This one guy was, come on, get the fuck down there and sort it out. It was brilliant. I loved it. Thank you, Vince Russo.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And look, because
thank you to Vince Russo for one.
Wow.
But no, I think it was in WWE at that time.
Probably.
So Carl, you kind of discovered it accidentally.
Accidentally.
Luke, I'm right in saying it was your brother who got you into it.
Yeah.
Shout out, it's Mark, isn't it?
It's Mark, yeah.
Actually, Mark the Hitman.
Mark the Hitman Oxtoby.
Yeah, give him a nice shout. He's a good supporter. All the way over in Cyprus, we've gone trans-Mediterranean.
International.
We have gone international. Yeah. So, but no, it was him that got me into it. Unfortunately,
Mark's fault.
It is. I remember being like, must have been like 4 or 5, something like that. And he had a friend that lived just over the road. And
Was this when you lived in Sherrington?
No, this was when we lived in Houghton Regis.
Oh, okay.
Anyone outside of Milton Keynes and this area?
There's life outside. You lived in Sherrington, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Just down from the shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, back.
Anyway, yeah.
Sorry, I want to hear about the tiny village we both used to live in.
Exactly. But no, he had a friend that lived across the road from us. And I remember bringing him home. I think it was a Survivor Series 92 video.
Wow. Video.
Yeah, video, right?
What are they?
Yeah. Kids nowadays don't have a clue. But yeah, bringing home this video, and I remember watching it with him, and there's a very infamous evening in our household that involved my sister going to A&E because
What? I know your sister.
Yeah,
we used
no.
to go on the school bus together.
Yeah, me and my brother watched this video, and then my brother thought it'd be a good idea, because obviously I'm smaller than him, to sit me on his shoulders and fall backwards onto the bed like a reverse electric chair drop, right? And I loved it. I thought it was great. Oh, this is brilliant.
Okay.
So he tried doing it with my sister being the middle child who is older than I am. and she's going to hate me, so slightly heavier than I was. He couldn't hold her weight and fell forward, and she cracked her chin open on the drawer. And to this day, she has a scar on her chin.
God damn! Stop the match.
Yeah, but it's, you know, we'd take the cushions off the sofa and make like a little wrestling ring.
Wow.
Between the two sofas. It just all stemmed from that one video, and then he'd buy like the WWF annuals that you used to get, where it had like small little bios of like your favorite wrestlers and stuff, and he had the toy wrestling rings and wrestlers, and it was something me and my brother always did, and it stuck with me.
Any matches that stand out? Any wrestlers or matches that were like caught your eye straight away?
I think the first thing I remember, and it's not so much a match, but it was at WrestleMania 3, and the first thing I remember was them going down them little golf carts with the wrestling ring things.
Yeah, the little ring carts,
that's the thing that really kind of stands out as like a first wrestling memory. Obviously, remember the Hogan Andre Giant.
One of the worst matches in my
opinion. For some reason. I don't know why it stands out. For some reason, I also remember Jake the Snake Roberts attacking Macho Man with the snake. It was like when he tied him up in the ropes.
He had him bite his arm. Yeah,
bite his arm. I remember that.
That was brutal. That was like legit. There was no kayfabe behind that.
He just attacked him with a snake.
It wasn't a fake snake. It was a real snake, and it really
just got him to bite him. Yeah.
Have you not seen that?
No, I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Just thinking about it, going, I'm gonna allow Ollie. I'm gonna allow you to get a snake and bite my arm.
Yeah,
it's just mad.
Crazy.
It's not right.
Crazy.
No. Back in the day before health and safety took over.
Exactly. Imagine all the paperwork for that one.
Yeah. And that was essentially it. Like, it was because of him that I got into it, and then obviously growing up and watching it change. I feel like when I was younger, I had all the baby faces. I had the Macho Mans, I had the Hogans, and that was, I'm really into them. And then as soon as I started becoming a teenager and becoming moody and whatnot, that's when the Attitude Era hit, and it was like, oh, these people are moody as well. I can go off with these people.
You were in perfect sync with
so I kind of evolved with it, and it's always been there.
What came first? Were you moody, or were you moody before the Attitude Era started? Or did the Attitude Era make you moody?
No, I've always been moody. It's just what happens, unfortunately.
It's the terrible twos. It was moody.
So, like, I think I've alluded. For me, it was that guy Wayne that used to live out behind my house. Across the street, not literally in my back garden.
I think I said this last time, but I saw him again the other day on the bus.
You bus wankers.
I know, right?
And and I think he forced it on me. I was like, oh, you got to watch this. Like, gave me a video and was like, put the video on. And I was like, yeah, this is wrestling. I watch it with my parents all the time, and like they have watched it since WrestleMania 1 sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he just kept kind of passing me these videos every now and again from what he taped off of Sky. But there's one, I don't know what it was. There was one match for me that stands out, and it was, I think, Armageddon 2000. It was the one where it was Kurt Angle, Stone Cold, Rikishi, Undertaker,
The
Hell in a Cell.
six-man Hell in a Cell.
Weirdly enough, I don't really remember Rikishi getting chokeslammed off the top. All I remember...
It wasn't a choke slam, it was a
choke push.
Into a sort of a pickup truck or something.
It was, like a flat loader. Yeah. But all I remember as a kid, I think I was well aware by that point who Stone Cold was, who The Undertaker was, but I can't remember many matches before. This is a match that kind of stands out for me.
Yeah.
And I remember Kurt Angle going in, and he looked scared. For his life, because he was a champion. It was almost like he was a champion, but he didn't want to be a champion. It was almost like
he didn't want to defend it in that way.
That's it. Yeah, he kind of won it accidentally and didn't want to be involved in his match with these like 5 other giants, because he was quite new at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling scared for him, thinking like, shit, that guy must be well scared. And then the match went on, and it was absolute chaos, and everyone was getting destroyed. And Kurt Angle won and escaped, and he kind of came out looking just as scared as he was when he went in. And he completely sold me on the emotions and everything. And from that point forward, I was like, wow, like this is cool stuff. And I watched it until I think I then moved away, or he just stopped recording stuff, or we got rid of our VHS player and got a DVD player.
Oh, you high-tech villain.
Well, I mean, it was a big
Because
jump.
of you, we don't have video.
It's your fault.
It was all my fault.
It is.
But it was that one match. But I used to watch it on Channel 5 when it was WCW. I think I stumbled across that accidentally. And I say people like the Filthy Animals, like Tank Abbott, I don't know what it was about them. I love Tank Abbott's knockout punch because, like, I believed it. As this is the thing. I think as a kid, it's what you believe, whether it is believable or not. If you believe it, you remember. And I used to believe that his knockout, like, for some reason, he stood out because everybody else threw punches, but they were fine.
Yeah,
he threw a punch, and that was it.
Yeah.
Bam, on the chin, knockout, 1, 2, 3, go home, job done.
Like the RKO is not an RKO, it's a diamond cut.
It is a diamond cut, yeah.
But for me, I think the reason why Tank Abbott stood out is because he had a punch that knocked people out, and I thought, well, shit, that guy must be hard as nails.
I think the thing that stood out for me was the sharpshooter, and that's essentially because my brother would put me in it.
Like, me and my brother did the same thing. In fact, we would constantly use each other's beds as like a crash mat for like body slams, power bombs, all this sort of stuff.
I wrestled the dog.
Yeah,
I body slammed the dog many
This
times.
does not surprise me. This does not surprise me.
She doesn't like it when I get her into a headlock.
She's shifting uncomfortably.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I noticed with us three is we all watched it as kids and we all had some downtime.
Yes.
And then we all got back into it. So now what I want to redo is kind of recover, like, or replay how we got back into it. Because it's just fun little stories. Because, Kai, you kind of stumbled across it originally by accident because you just kept watching Cartoon Network after 9.
Yeah.
Luke was forced into it. Well, you lived in the same house.
Yeah, I grew up with it.
You lived in the same house. And I was kind of just hadn't made a friend who watched it and wanted to make other friends that watched it.
By forcing you to watch
wrestling friends. But for me, like when I got back into it, is when I was living with a girl at the time, and I was flicking between channels on a day off, I think it was, and it was when Bravo was before TNA was on Challenge. It was on Bravo, and I stumbled across Bravo, and it was wrestling, and it was a knockouts match, and it was Angelina Love and Velvet Sky in a knockouts tag match with some people, and it was basically Angelina Love and Velvet Sky's arse that got my attention. I was like, hang on a second. Firstly, I didn't know wrestling was still going. Secondly, what are those things? And
their asses. You've just said that's what they are.
And I kept watching. So I watched that, and then I think at the time that my girlfriend at the time was upstairs, I don't know, like doing her hair or whatever. I hear footsteps coming down. I think, right, if she catches me watching these two girls in their underwear rolling around, I'm going to be in trouble. So I quickly flicked over the channel. And then the next day I'd like just look through the listings and there's that wrestling show again, and I'd put it on and I'd see people like Kurt Angle and the Dudleys. I'd be like, oh, I remember those guys, and I started and that's kind of where I kind of caught up with it, kind of by accident, flicking through channels. But I want to know like how and why, like, because if you got out of it,
you said a couple of weeks ago that you had your whole Rock versus Cena as well.
Yeah.
So
that got me back into WWE.
Okay.
But Velvet Sky's backside got me back into wrestling as a whole. But I stuck with TNA because it was on Freeview. I could watch it.
Velvet Sky's arse will do that.
Yeah, the pigeons were loose all over in my mind. They were running wild. But yeah, but then
she's still going up.
Yeah. It's kind of the noise I made actually when I saw it for the first time. But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they're still together. But yeah, Rock and Cena got me back into WWE.
Okay.
But yeah, the Beautiful People got me back into wrestling because I just caught my eye.
Not the Marilyn Manson song. Not the Marilyn Manson song.
No, the tits and ass.
The TNA.
The TNA of TNA. And then things like the six-sided ring really caught my eye. Some of their weird gimmick matches. I mean, people knock them for the weird gimmick matches. I love it. I love the fact that they've got the balls to try something weird, like a reverse battle royal.
I like their I don't know what it's called, but their X Division match,
Ultimate X.
Oh,
yeah, where they can get,
I saw
really good.
A few of those matches. I've seen one of those live. I think I must have done.
Why don't they do them anymore?
I think they've overdone them, so I think they need to kind of pull back because it's like if Hell in a Cell happened every 2 weeks, it wouldn't be special.
That's true. It's now got its own pay-per-view, though.
Yes, yeah, precisely. But yeah, so I think TNA got me back into wrestling because it was different from what I remember. It was six sides. They were doing these weird matches. They had Ultimate X. There was a match called what was it called? It's where they had it was like a cage, but they also had a roof on it. But you had to climb up the roof.
Lethal Lockdown.
No. Well, there was that as well. I'm trying to think what they called it. It was could have been the Ultimate Escape, I think.
No, okay. I've seen that.
No, it was basically this giant red cage, which is almost circular. Imagine Elimination Chamber with a hole in the middle of the ceiling, and the job was to climb up and out, but you had to almost climb up a wall and then kind of do like monkey bars to the middle and then flip yourself up and out. They had that match.
Sounds far too acrobatic for me.
Oh, it was crazy. A lot of the fact, I think the guy that was meant to win the one I was watching almost couldn't make it out because it was so tricky.
Yeah.
But and they also had characters like Jay Lethal.
Okay.
As Black Machismo, they had Curry Man, they had Shark Boy, they had all these weird. And I think when I got out of wrestling, it was people like The Rock and Triple H.
Yeah.
I'm watching back their matches now at the moment because I'm up to about the middle of the Attitude Era. They're just two guys, both wearing black, black trunks with black knee pads and black boots. Fair enough, there was the attitude there, but I think as a viewer, it's not too colourful, it's not too exciting to watch.
Yeah.
And then here's TNA, you've got a guy, you've got guys in masks, you've got guys with face paint.
Was it also a thing of there was older wrestlers there that you recognised as well as,
and I think that's where TNA are suffering at the moment is the X Division put them on the map. And they had the heavyweight scene, but it was all about the X Division.
Yeah.
Whereas now the X Division has kind of pulled so far back, and it's just now back about heavyweights, and everyone's seen heavyweights. You want to see something new and exciting. I think they need to put it back on the map. But anyway, that's TNA definitely got me back into wrestling with their innovative matches and styles and things like that. But where did you guys, what happened to you guys for getting real back in?
For WCW, my parents are stupidly fucking twats. Updated the Skybox. So now Cartoon Network wasn't ending at 9 o'clock. It was 24 hours a day. What the fuck? Where's TNT? Oh, I found TNT. TNT Classics, TNT. Movies all the time. No WCW. What the fuck's going on here? Fuck me. I had to then go to the other side. It's like basically you getting told you can't go to the school with all your friends. You got to go to that school
across the road.
Yeah. So I was
was this before the other school had been bought out by your new school?
This was before.
Because I mean, at least when the schools get bought out, they'll bring your buddies over.
Well, yeah, but no, this was before. So I'm there, the new kid in the block, just going around going, okay, I know these people, but I hate them, obviously, because, you had your rugby matches, the football matches. Yeah, fuck you, I hate you stone cold twat. And, but that's...
I'd love that if that was his name. That would have been amazing.
Stone cold Steve twat.
But I needed my wrestling feel. I was
better than nothing.
I was wrestling.
Yeah.
I was hooked on wrestling. I needed my fix. WWE or WWF was that. So I kind of kept on watching it. And there's a Stone Cold Vince McMahon going at it, and okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah, he's getting better. Undertaker, I was sold. Kane, I was sold.
Yeah.
So then
you like your dark characters.
Yeah. I got into it. It reminded me of Sting. It was my comfort blanket.
Kane and Undertaker with your comfort blanket. Wow. So one guy's going to bury you alive. The other guy's going to set you on fire. You look at those guys. Yeah, this comforts me.
It would be nice and warm still.
Cold, dark coffin. I'll be warm.
Oh no, you're going to be set on fire.
Well, yeah. But then I watched a documentary on Channel 5. It was wrestling's fake. How do they do it? How do they do a backbreaker? Ollie's like nodding and saying, yeah, he knows what I'm on about. So, okay, I'll watch it. It's cool. Yeah. And then, okay, I realised it was fake. Okay, so the boxing that I had with my granddad, this is not real. This is all fake. It's all predetermined. What the fuck's going on here? And then I was like, okay, I will still watch it. But then I kind of started. I think I said this in another podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. I began to predict exactly move for move what is going to happen in the matches. So it kind of got a bit of like, okay, I don't care. I got bored of it. So I'm like,
yeah,
I've had enough. I've had enough. I'm rock bottom. No pun intended. Oh my wrestling fix and drug habit. I'm going to stop.
Your feel? You're just going to stop watching.
I stopped cold turkey.
How long for?
Good couple of years. It was literally 3 years ago I started watching wrestling again.
Okay,
fair
enough.
That came about is because I used to do a radio show, Basement Music, with Scott Star Spud, who's featured on some of these podcasts. And Ollie would, every once in a while, pop up to the studio, I don't know, talk to Scott. And those two were off to see TNA.
Okay.
I was like, oh, really? You like wrestling? Come on, man. It's not real. It's not fake. I was one of those twats who like said that wrestling was fake. It was stupid. Do you remember that, Ollie, by any chance?
Not really, if I'm being honest.
You just had TNA tickets, and you were going to say you came into the studio to, I think, give Scott his ticket, and I was like, "What are you two like wrestling? What the fuck?" And for weeks and weeks on end, me and Scott were doing this radio show. He was just saying, "Just go and watch it." And I'm like, "I don't want to watch it." go and watch it. And okay, fine, I'll watch it.
Is
I'll
it
put
really?
it on.
Was that really it? It was Scott's bullying.
It was Scott's bullying. Yeah,
That was it.
the massive prick.
Wow.
I think the first episode I watched, you might be able to remember this, is Suicide back in the day was in fact Austin Aries. That was the first episode. So everyone went apeshit, and I'm going, who's that guy?
Yeah.
I don't know who any of these people are. Yeah.
Well, I think he was the third incarnation of Suicide.
Oh, was he?
Before him, it was Kaz and Daniels were kind of sharing though. Suicide basically I'm just going to explain.
yeah.
TNA had a video
Was
game.
Suicide the one who then later became Manic?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
But basically TNA had a video game and they created a character especially for the video game. He was fully masked and he was all cool looking.
Yeah.
And basically he was the fan support, from what I gather, kind of forced their hand to make him real life. And they brought him in as so he was the real life video game character. But I quite like Suicide.
Yeah, I did. So yeah, I got to that. I went back to Scott saying I didn't get into it.
Yeah.
So just keep watching it.
Yeah.
And so I did. And I said, I remember that from last week. And then it's like, I'm going to go watch what happened next.
Yeah.
Again,
it just piques your interest again, and you
just
want to
got-
find out what's going on.
Go into cold
good
turkey, then all of a
storyline.
sudden have your drug feel again. You're like, I don't know what's going on. So, but then it turned to not so much what was going on in the match as such. It turned into the storylines away from the match.
Yeah.
So I turned from what was going on into the match to the storylines. It was like, okay, this aces and eights. What was going on behind there? It was Hulk Hogan, Buddy Ray shagging Hulk Hogan's daughter. And like,
Yeah.
hello, this is all right. I'm going to carry on watching this. This is my soap opera. And then I think it kind of then turned into storylines going on in the background to storylines going on to the matches, and that's when I think I'm fully now back hooked on wrestling, and then trying to backfill of what I've missed via YouTube. In the past, like James Storm's blindfold match with an electric steel cage or something stupid like that.
As I said, they've done silly things, and I say but it gets you talking about them. It gets you interested in them. I think that's what's important.
Idea.
Yeah, well,
Blindfolded
maybe, but yeah, I think it gets you talking. It gets you looking it up, and you discover things. I think TNA get a lot of they get knocked a lot for no reason. But anyway, Luke, how did you actually fall out, or did you just?
Yeah, no. Like I said, my brother moved away probably when I was about 8 or 9, and it slowed down a little bit then. Still played the computer games, and still watched it occasionally when I could. I think the last pay-per-view I really remember watching was the Survivor Series, where Stone Cold reverted back to Team WWE during the Invasion angle.
Okay.
And then, because we had Sky at that time as well, and I was just sat on the sofa and watching the Raws and SmackDowns and stuff.
I never had Sky, and I think that's the thing, when Wayne stopped giving me the videos, or when I moved away.
Yeah.
If it wasn't on terrestrial TV, I never had access to it, so I never had Sky growing up.
Well, it was a good 2 years from and I remember it quite clearly from the ages of 11 to 13 where I didn't watch it because I was in Cyprus and couldn't get it. So it was kind of like, well, there's no way I'm going to get it. As soon as I came back, it was just as the Invasion angle was starting again and things like that. So that was really good. But then literally after the Invasion angle, it really did just die down because it became this, and we mentioned it before, it became this kind of dirty little secret. Yeah. Because no one I knew was into wrestling. My brother, he'd gone and we didn't share it anymore. And it was like, well, who do I talk to about it now? What do I do? It just fell off the map. And then I think a bit like what Kai said, it picked up really properly 3 years ago. I think WrestleMania.
Was that once again Rock and Cena?
No, it was WrestleMania 29, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah.
My brother was said to me and my sister, right, come round, we'll watch Mania. And I thought...
Was that the Daniel Bryan one?
No, not the 18-second Sheamus one. 30 was the one where he won.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was the one before that.
That's the 29 was... Oh, no, that was right. That would have been Rock Cena 2.
It might have been Rock Cena 2.
Yeah.
It was one. It wasn't the first one. But my brother was like, come round and watch it. And I thought... Do you know what? I haven't actually sat and watched a proper pay-per-view. I dipped in and out and put old videos on, or I'd watch, what I could find at the time. Went back and watched 29 and was like, I could start watching this again. I could really get back into it.
I still think it was quite good round then.
Yeah, found TNA like you did.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, this is really good.
It's a bit different.
again, it was that thing of there are big stars that you know, there are people you don't. It was just after Bubba Ray married Hogan, actually. Brooke Hogan and
the wedding broke down. That was when Taz was the
announcer,
vicarage
and
guy.
then
He turned around and revealed his aces and eights cut, and like, oh my god, and it's, madness has gone.
So it's
down.
back around then, and then from there it was like I thought to myself, well, if I know wrestling's on Sky, so I'm just going to get Sky and get WWE, and it went from there.
Wow.
So like the interest had always been there, and I'd always been watching stuff, like going on YouTube and finding the odd person to talk about it here or there, but never properly finding someone to sit down like this and do it. So
I know I said that I went away from wrestling for quite a bit. I didn't fully go away because there was obviously the one guy you're probably naming right now that I would always like keep an eye on and see what he's doing, and that was Sting.
Yeah, fair enough.
Obviously TNA, I kind of heard his TNA stuff. I don't care about wrestling. YouTube. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But just those odd kind of things, because obviously I knew it was great to go back to my childhood and see this guy who I absolutely loved still going. I think one match I remember YouTubing is Abyss versus Sting in the Hell Graveyard, kind of. There was tombstones around. They kind of both watched it. One lifted up, it was heavy, and then the other just lifted up and it was like nothing. So I remember those two fucking that one up.
Is that just good selling, or was it just one was a prop, one wasn't?
Just one was fucking strong. But yeah, other than that, I was fully away from wrestling. It was just.
I think like there were certain years where probably I dipped in and gone, oh, Mania's on, have a quick look at the card, and then just not watch it.
I didn't even do that. I was fully away.
Fair enough.
I think there was one year. I think there was a friend I had at work got the WrestleMania on DVD where it was the Undertaker Shawn Michaels retirement match.
Such a good
and
match.
I'm pretty sure we sat down and watched the entire pay-per-view, and I didn't have a fucking clue who anybody was.
Yeah.
But we watched it. But then, I still don't think I really...
You didn't even know who Taker and Shawn Michaels were.
No, I knew who they were.
But
as in, like, the rest of the card, I wasn't so sure. But at the time at work, a lot of people were like, as soon as we said, like, oh, what are you doing after work? I'm going over to Dan's house to watch wrestling. They would rip 7 shades out of me. They'd be like, oh, wrestling friend, you're going to go and watch wrestling, watch Men in Pants. And like, I think that's kind of why I kind of thought it was a...
I made a joke to my brother a while ago and said, oh yeah, come round, we'll watch 2 sweaty men pound the hell out of each other. And then we'll put the wrestling on.
Yeah.
Like, that is what people think it is. It's like...
But I think for me, it was because everyone else's reaction to me saying, oh, I'm going to go around Dan's house and watch the wrestling after work.
So open about it.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're like, I got the piss taken out of me, and I was like, okay, so maybe I shouldn't be, telling people about this, and I didn't for a long, long, long time. So I can definitely see why it was a bit of a kind of.
It just seems like it's. I mean, not so much now because obviously we've got so many independent places in the UK, but it's just that thing of for a time it just seemed like this really nasty little secret I had.
Yeah.
That no one.
I watch wrestling.
Yeah.
I know what's going on.
It was, yeah.
Like, I'm going to go watch WrestleMania because all my mates are. Do you know who's facing? No, I don't know who's facing.
Yeah. It just literally seemed like one of those things that it was an American thing that a handful of people in the UK would watch because it was always on at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on Sky. Like, oh, it's a sport, we'll play it. It never seemed like it had a following.
That's true, and it's a shame. So if you're listening to Figure 4 Radio via iTunes, via Stitcher, via our website, figure4radio.weebly.com, tell somebody. It's not like an AA meeting. You have to go, I am a wrestling fan. Just go, like, be proud of being a wrestling fan and go,
hi, my name's Kai, I like Sting. Hi, Kai.
I've admired Sting for most of my career, although I've stopped admiring now he's retired because he's a douchebag and can't carry on. That's just me going, I can't face Sting retiring.
You can't hack it, can you?
No, I can't. I really can't. It's just one more match with Taker. That's all I want.
I still think it could happen.
I still want that to happen. I don't think it would. I would bust my load.
Like Danny Mayhem during an NWO run.
But yeah, seriously, it's not something to be ashamed of. People like Coronation Street, people like EastEnders, I like Newcastle United.
They're just as scripted. Well,
that's it.
Apart from Newcastle.
This is the thing. And I say it's
scripted to lose that badly.
Not, just because it's predetermined doesn't make it fake. That's
no, it doesn't. And that's the argument a lot of people have, though, is, oh yeah, but they know who's going to win. Yeah, but that's fine. But what about when they fall off the ring side and like fucking rip their leg open.
So they can't admire Shane McMahon and the Hell in a Cell jumping off that
Precisely.
height.
I was watching Royal Rumble 2000 the other day, and my other half said to me, are they real thumbtacks?
Of course,
for the Cactus Jack thing. I was like, they are.
Yes.
So they are embedded in his skull, and it is gonna hurt.
He is going to have to go backstage and have someone with pliers pull them out of his fucking face. Yeah.
Haven't we got an interview somewhere with Mr. Monster?
Yeah.
After he just had a plant pot smashed over his head.
Yeah, and he was
Gaps in the back
he
of
was
his head.
bleeding all over the place. We had to keep the mics away from him.
Nice.
Yeah, like I think it's for me. It's I tell people it's like kind of like a combination between a soap opera, between theatre. Gymnastics, a stunt show, the circus. You go to the pantomime at Christmas, and you know the bad guy is not actually going to kill the good guy, but you still shout as if you're trying to save his life.
Yeah, exactly.
He's behind. It's exactly the same as pantomime. It's exactly the same as going to the circus and seeing people on a high wire doing flips and stuff. It's the same as watching EastEnders. They're reading a script. They're following a script, but it's their job to take that script and sell the emotion.
Roman Reigns is reading a script.
Well, very much so, yeah. But he's a terrible actor. But I know for a fact there's people that have cried over stories in soap operas. So there's no difference between
Who shot JR?
who shot Mr. Burns. But there's people
That was harrowing.
There's no difference between getting upset over a storyline in EastEnders and the three of us sitting at MK11 during WrestleMania, jumping out of our seats and shouting at the screen.
No, you two sitting there and he dancing around like a lunatic.
You lying on the floor holding on for dear life.
My girlfriend let me out.
This is the thing. It's entertainment. It's entertainment in a sports environment.
Yes.
I think is the best way.
Yes.
But yeah, I like the fact that we don't need to be ashamed. You can join a podcast and you can talk about it with people. There's no need to be ashamed.
If someone comes out as they're gay, don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if you're a wrestling fan. You're a wrestling fan.
Yeah,
Poppy's a wrestling fan. I don't think she is, but hey, she's going to lie there anyway.
She doesn't seem fussed right now.
No.
But this has been fun, right? It's been a nice little trip down memory lane.
Yeah, it has.
Getting our stories over. I'm surprised there hasn't been more kind of weird wrestlers to come out as people that we liked as kids.
I think the thing is, obviously, like I said, it was 92, so it was Ultimate Warrior, it was Macho Man. I loved the theatre of Ricky Steamboat. He come out with that dragon. That was really good.
Didn't he spit fire as well?
Spit fire in the ring.
That kind of thing is why I like Lucha Underground at the minute.
Yeah.
So Drago with the massive tongue is like, wow, the actual mask and everything, it actually looks really good.
I
It is
watched
that
one
theatre behind
episode.
it.
I watched one episode of Lucha, and he was one of the guys that stood out because he had,
It's just weird, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just looks cool.
His mask doesn't look like a generic wrestling mask. It actually looks like skin, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I love Lucha.
I would love to get in it, but I think that for me, it's about what's accessible to me. WWE is accessible thanks to the network. TNA is accessible thanks to Sky, and that kind of fills up my time. Unfortunately,
Yeah, fair enough.
I would love to just to retire from work and just do nothing but watch wrestling all day, every day. I think I could actually easily do that.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I really could.
Well, just quit your job, get on the dole, and hey ho, there's your... Anyway, thank you for joining us on the Figure 4 Radio podcast. Again, you can get all our other podcasts via iTunes and Stitch. And of course, our website is figure4radio.weebly.com. Go and check out other stuff on there. We also have our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/F4TV. Anyway, I've been joined with the mastermind, Ollie Spring.
Goodbye.
Great. And of course, the dancer across foyers in a cinema near you. Seriously, we're going to get a world tour of that. It is
A world tour.
Luke O Mac.
Thanks very much.
I've been the Killer Kyle Brown. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Figure 4 Radio. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Lock it in. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Figure 4 Radio.
This has been a Figure 4 Radio production. For more podcasts, go to our website www.figure4radio.weebly.com.